everybody. Welcome back to the Rules of Acquisition remix. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, but hey, we're talking about Rivals, we're talking about Chris Sarandon, and hang on for the back end and I'll talk some more about it. All right.
Tombstone Clerks and Philadelphia were in the theaters. Oh yeah. People listened to Tony Braxton Arrested Development and Snoop Dogg. Oh yeah. And on TV Prince Humperdink goaded people into playing racquetball for a minute. Oh yeah. It's time for the Rules of Acquisition.
Hello and welcome to the Rules of Acquisition, the podcast where we're talking about Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, that is. You've heard me say all this before. We're talking about the greatest TV show I need to find something else to say because I'm running out of things to say how great it is. It's magnificent.
A show worthy of a podcast.
Yes. Of two or three inferior podcasts, and this the better. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
You're shit talking other people's podcasts.
Yeah, it's like, wait, I don't want to do that. My name is Wade Bowen. With me is James Nolan.
Hello.
And Hugh Crawford.
Hello.
And we're talking about Dr. Julian Bashir, and Quark, and a whole other cast of characters in an episode titled Rivals.
Yes, that's right. We're talking about a shirtless O'Brien, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about, we are finally in 1994. This aired January 2nd, 1994, Rivals. It's the 11th episode of Season 2, and the IMDb description is as follows. Quark meets his match when a new rival opens a casino opposite Quark's bar on the promenade. Meanwhile, the station is suffering issues of high improbability. Oh boy, that's one way to put it. The first day, the A plot there, the Quark meets his rival. That like as far as an elevator pitch for this show goes, it's a unique. Like you can't have that pitch for another Star Trek. You know, this is a unique to Deep Space Nine. No slush pile here. You're gonna get all killer, no filler content, but that's not the case, is it?
This was a slush pile script.
No way.
Yes, it was.
But, like, who was the Quark? Was it, like, what Guinan has it? You know, Guinan's real cutthroat.
Well, okay, I got a lot to say about Guinan in this. Surprising amount to say about Guinan in this episode. Yeah.
So, was it Guinan script?
Maybe. No, I think it was just about they find an ancient luck device that changes the probability. It was probably
okay.
It was completely reworked by Michael Piller. He had been working it for a year before he brought it to the room.
Piller?
Yeah. Off of a slush pile script. So yeah. Oh, it was originally heavily to feature the butterfly effect.
Well, I guess what I meant by slush pile is that it wasn't meant for it wasn't meant for another Star Trek. It wasn't meant for
Next Generation.
Slush pile for Next Generation, and then they just transferred it over.
I think it might have been, but you're right. Okay,
it's no. That's what I'm saying. It could have easily started that way, but the fact that Quark is the central figure makes it uniquely DS9.
Sure,
it is clearly problematic on a lot of different storytelling levels. One of the main problems I have with it is that we don't see Sisko until like minute 25.
Yes.
And then every time he's on the screen, we hate whatever they're saying.
I'm gonna have to say something weird.
Wait, you like this episode?
I kind of liked it.
Oh my god! Okay.
The luck device does sound like a shitty slush pile script from a season 1 or 2 Next Generation episode where they're like, we can't have conflict with the characters. What kind of dumb shit can we make up? Okay, that plot device is kind of dumb. I will agree. But the Julian O'Brien stuff,
that's the saving grace.
That's because we finally get something with Julian. This is the most characterization, the best characterization that we've had for Julian the whole time. This is the first time he's actually, dare I say it, likable.
There's some important character math that goes on. For O'Brien would get under my skin because all he does is grouse about stuff and just kind of like grimace. And Julian, we've talked about at length on this show. He's just an insufferable bastard. But when you put them together, it's a strange alchemy that seems to work. It's like your hatred for Bashir is only magnified through the character of O'Brien, and that makes O'Brien's disposition somehow justified. So he's incredibly watchable.
They're the mango habanero sauce of the show, where you take two things that are this mangoes are too sweet and habaneros are too hot. You mix them together, pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, and the A plot is the Quark stuff with Martus Mazar or whatever. It's a dumb kind of concept, but then the B plot is Julian and O'Brien playing racquetball, which
space
racquetball. They never actually name it.
No, they call it racquetball.
They call it racquetball.
Oh, really?
I think that it's supposed to be like, this is just how the game evolved.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's right.
Fair enough. And it's got some delightfully 90s, almost like late 80s attire for Julian and the neon
Julian does not get out of his onesie, his racquetball onesie, this entire episode.
No, yeah. Okay, so my thing with Julian is that one of the and I don't think they did it. I think it's all accident. But I think it's a masterful reboot of Julian Bashir's character. Like a classic comic book reboot, where you take a character. Well, what do we like? What's he like? He's an asshole. He's grumbly. He's selfish. He's egotistical. So they show him doing this ridiculous like pre-game warm-up that looks so fucking candy ass and stupid, and you mix him with like the only
it's a 5,000-year-old thing from
and you mix him with the only real person in the show, like O'Brien. A guy with a wife and a kid and works in he's a mechanic. And so he's having to watch this and we're watching it through his eyes. And then slowly it shows Bashir is all of those things, but also, there is an honor to it and a dignity. He will do the right thing. His instincts, it's just he's got a grating personality, but the core of the man is pretty good. And that's shown in highlight to O'Brien. And in this interesting story where they, the young whippersnapper and the man past his prime, that's a trope you can work with, and
right. And it starts his excellence. We assume that he's great because everybody on Star Trek is always the best at their job, but we haven't actually seen that from Julian. Like, he bred a clone by accident, and it was like, he talks shit, and then it was like, okay, whatever. I was reading up on Julian this week, and his whole character arc, according to him and according to Berman, they meant for him to be dislikable the whole time, which sounds a little bit like rose-colored glasses, a little bit looking backwards. Yeah. But at this point,
just so they can say they did a good job.
It's a justification after the fact, maybe. Yeah.
And then, and he says that he wasn't actually likable till an episode later on I won't talk about called Our Man Bashir, and that's a big turning point. Even Garrick talks about that episode as one of his favorites, Andrew Robinson. But whatever, that's further down. But even this one, it already sets the case that he is insufferable and he's whatever. But I don't know. I kind of found them likable a little.
No, I did too.
Okay, then I'm definitely odd man out here because I still can't stand him.
Wait, okay.
I know. I feel like somebody should stick up for him because a lot of people like him.
Well, apparently he is a sex pot because, someone, I think I was reading that Robert Wolf made a reference that people kept sending in quotes about wanting to see more pictures. They wanted Julian to be in his jumper more often on the show, which I don't know if that was a particularly sexy jumper.
Oh, after this episode?
I don't think they were writing that they want to see more of shirtless O'Brien.
He looks like he needs to eat a sandwich. He doesn't look healthy.
Are you talking to me or to the women who wrote those letters? I'm not saying he's sexy.
He looks malnourished. I don't want to see him in that.
Well, also apparently, because there's a lot of letters that got written because Star Trek fans, and it's pre-internet. He was on the chopping block for the first 3 years of the show.
He's the Cass. The show.
Right. Like this, they would do these polls of people's least favorite character, and it was always Bashir. And the studio people wanted to get rid of him, but Berman stood up for him. And then that's part of what Berman's kind of talk about, oh no, we're running it as an experiment, this character, to make him unlikable. And it's actually an interesting concept that they would decide to make him unlikable as an experiment. It feels like a little bit too hindsight. But at the same time, if talking about the show as a precursor to the golden age of TV and everything, where It's all anti. It's like, oh, we're gonna have an unlikable character. It's still pre-Tony Soprano. They haven't figured out how to make anti-heroes likable. They just decided we're gonna make them unlikable. Not
Or
we're gonna
interesting to watch, not necessarily likable, but just interesting to watch.
right. We're not gonna make him an anti-hero. We're just gonna make him unlikable and then turn him around.
But that's the worst of both.
Several seasons
But that's
down.
the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you were what you have is a likable character who does bad things, like Michael Chiklis on The Shield or something, like where you're like, I like this guy, but he does awful things, so I'm conflicted. What they've done is the opposite of that, made someone who's just fucking awful, but he doesn't do anything.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a failed experiment, but as a experiment to figure out how we get to the TV that we like now, it's an interesting failure, I say.
It is an interesting failure when you look at it in that context, because when we look at the despicable characters on TV, Don Draper and Tony Soprano are probably
Walter
the two
White,
biggest.
Walter
I guess,
White.
well, in Heisenberg, Walter White.
Yeah.
So you take those three, the Holy Trinity, they all have one thing in common that Bashir does not have. They're all really fucking good at their jobs. They're really, really good at what they do. And that's
And they
actually
have
their
that by
only
being
redeemable
commented
quality.
upon by other people. Like they could have had that with Bashir.
Right,
Which,
like-
if Cisco said, if it was Cisco, it's like if Cisco said I can't stand the man, but he's the best damn doctor in Starfleet, and I can't give him up. Like then you look at him different. I would look at him as an audience member. I would look at him different.
Yeah, it's just assumed greatness because he's one of the leads on a Star Trek show. But it's like, we don't know that he's any good.
But so I think he was a really hated character for a really long time, and it's not the actor's fault.
No, like,
it's clearly
he's
the
a fine
writer's
actor,
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear, but it's the writer. Like they need to look at in the mirror a little bit. If they're like, we've got this unlikable character, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now is them trying to like right the ship with this horrible situation. But they've had a Star Trek doctor for almost 2 full seasons, not really do much Star Trek doctoring. You know?
And he doesn't really in this one either. But like, do we need to back up and talk about the A plot?
I suppose.
I guess. I mean,
wait. While we're on this, let me, Hugh. Me and Wade both found it a little like the Bashir was a little bit righted in this episode, and you don't think so. Why? Like, just you feel like it's more of the same, or the?
Oh, I have a well. I guess I just because this Bashir could still exist on the same plane as his previous characterization. It doesn't change anything really. I mean, it's just now we're not seeing him. He's still not hound dogging.
They called that off,
like women. I mean, he could easily just switch from hound dogging to letting O'Brien win at RACQUETBALL. It doesn't fundamentally change anything about him. It's just showing a different side of him, I guess.
If he were, I was going to wait to get to this, but the thing that really made me like, okay, I think I might like him now, is like he's kind of brash and overbearing, and he's showing off. But then after that one scene where it's after O'Brien goes home to Keiko and he's bitching about what an asshole Julian is. And then they have the next scene with Julian and Dax where he's complaining about O'Brien, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And he's like, I
thought he was going to die.
Like, oh, I thought he was going to die. And they set it up well, like O'Brien's like, and he's talking shit about me right now. And Keiko's like, no, he's not. And then they cut the Quarks, and Julian's like, I thought he was going to die. Oh my god! But then later on in that scene, he's like, I don't want to humiliate the guy. I just want to get out of this. But now he won't let me because his pride or whatever. It's like that's when I decided I liked him.
Okay, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I sort of hated right off the bat. I sort of hated the RACQUETBALL and space stuff anyway.
Fair enough.
Okay, I was behind the 8 ball. If we were looking at some other sort of situation where we didn't have metal rackets and we didn't,
if it was the dartboard,
no, I think actually the dartboard is better than the RACQUETBALL, space RACQUETBALL. Because here's my problem.
There's a dartboard theme later on.
They play darts later.
Yeah,
sorry.
later they scrap this bullshit and
they realize how
probably
dumb
because
they look.
Colomini really did pull a hamstring or something,
Mhm.
and then it was like, let's just have him play darts. But no, in the 1960s, we're gonna do something futuristic. Gene Roddenberry's like, I got it. We're gonna have chess in the future, but it's just gonna be 3 different chessboards stacked on top of each other. Cool. That's it. They're gonna buy it. They're gonna eat that shit up with a spoon. And you know what? To a certain degree, the audience did like that. I mean, they actually produced those chessboards,
still buy them.
made up rules for it. Yeah, you could still buy it. Yeah. So here they are, 30 years later, almost 30 years later, and they're still thinking like, okay, let's. It's the future, so let's just tack on a couple, ramps on the side, right? Ramps.
Yeah, with some,
and give them
some.
metal rackets. Yeah. So it's like I hate that as a what was once innovative is now a trope kind of situation.
No,
Does that make sense?
Get it.
Yeah,
and they do that. In this show, there's another theme of that, which is baseball, where that Cisco and his son go and play baseball in the holiday, which begs the question: why couldn't O'Brien just play racquetball in the holodeck? But
yeah, I thought at first that it was in the holodeck, like it was a program he built.
Yeah.
But no, it turns out it's the courts. And then later, Quark asks where they were playing, and he says, "It's the courts, of course, you dummy." He's like, "Does everybody know about this?" I thought if anybody else knew, you'd think that O'Brien would have somebody else to play with.
You don't want to pick a ball that's off a floor that the Grand Nagus' balls, his own real balls, have dragged.
No amount of space.
It's like you don't want right. So you don't want to play racquetball in a holodeck on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I like the idea of them doing something physical and kind of bro-ish.
Yeah, it's funny to me that baseball died out.
But racquetball really took off.
Baseball died 100 years ago, but racquetball, they've got old style rules and new style rules. With
it actually makes sense though when you think about it. It's something that can be played in a confined space, like and you have new rules because it's being played in space.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. And it's closer quarters. You'd have to ramp up.
Right. I mean, they haven't had holodecks very long compared to what cramped spaces they could fit a racquetball court into, maybe.
I believe a racquetball court, if you're going to have gravity plating and where gravity could be normal, I believe that a racquetball court.
Yeah. I could see racquetball on the original series. I couldn't see them playing baseball on the Enterprise.
Yeah. So are we ready to talk about this A plot?
All right, I guess we should get it.
Holy shit, we spent a lot of time on racquetball.
Dude, that's the only thing that really comes from this episode, so I think we've spent it wisely.
Yeah, like we're trying to talk about the fun stuff, and now we gotta eat our vegetables. Yeah. Okay, it starts up with a character we don't know talking to a woman we don't know who is obvious, and he's obviously
say we don't know
grifter.
him, but he's Prince Humperdink. Like he's an Oscar-nominated actor, so he's somewhat noteworthy. But yeah, so it's weird that just start off with Prince Humperdink in this show.
We don't know him in the context of DS9. Exactly. So he's talking to a widow who, spoilers for the end of this episode. It's painfully obvious that she's scamming the scammer, right?
Well, yeah.
Like from the opening scene, like she's a widow with a mining concern that she needs money for. It's like, and he's clearly a grifter going after widows. And then Odo comes in and takes him to the brig for some other deal that he did.
Yeah, scamming someone previous.
Yeah, but she's got
some other deal that he did.
So do we need to talk about the Vlutkin asteroid belt and everything? Okay, thank. Yeah. And her father.
I think we should talk about the species, and what he is.
Arians, Arians are good listeners, and everybody refers to them as listeners.
So does that mean there are species?
Well,
of
wait, no. We know an Elarian. We know 2 Elars. But at this point, we didn't know. This is the first time that the word Elarian is ever used. He was written in the original screenplay as Guinan's son.
Okay, here we go.
Mind blown. Okay, Michael Piller wanted this to be Guinan's son. Still, Chris Swearengen in Generations, which is released a year or later this year, it is said in that Guinan is an Elar, and so was Clockwork Orange in that movie. He was too. So Michael Piller hated Chris Sarandon and hated his performance. I think both. I think he both hated working with Chris Sarandon and hated the performance and never wanted him back on the show. So he took that reference out, that's Guinan's son.
Oh.
Just cut it in some way.
So, she's an alien, so it doesn't make sense that he's a white guy, I guess. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Racially, I don't know if they. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It comes up.
You know, who cares about that? They're, you know, if they, you know, I got over having a black Vulcan. It's fine. You know, like Tuvok was great.
Well, you're conditioned by shitty Star Trek.
Yeah. But
when they all come in and they all have the same Lisa Frank tattoo on their forehead.
They all have the same race.
Sticker on their
right. Well, and I'm conditioned by Cisco can only date black women.
Yeah. And we did just the same. Last year we did just have to deal with the fan base of the Fantastic Four movie throwing a fit because Michael B. Jordan and Kate Mara were brother and sister, and that flummoxed America. But other than that, yeah. So I could see this had been an issue. Someone brought it up in the writers' room, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's where it was, and they cut that out. So he is the same race as Guinan. So some use it for con artistry, and some use it for
bartending.
Well, by the end of this episode, he's basically a bartender in a casino. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I'm probably glad that he's not Guinan's.
Yeah, and I just like before we get into how bad Chris Sarandon is in this episode.
I thought he was fine.
Okay, I don't hate him, but everyone in the cast it was like a shit. I've never seen an actor so shit talk.
They hated him because he was an asshole, not because he's a bad actor.
Okay, so this guy, I mean, he was married to Susan Sarandon, so he's Susan Sarandon's first husband. He's now currently married to the Broadway great Joanna Gleason, who's from Boogie, plays Dirk Diggler's mom in Boogie Night.
Okay,
but he got an Oscar nomination for, and I think it was pretty groundbreaking. In 1975, he played a transitioning woman in a movie, Dog Day Afternoon, which is a fucking amazing movie.
Oh yeah. He's Pacino's
lover.
Girlfriend,
girlfriend, I guess.
He's robbing a bank to pay for the transition. Right?
Yep. So, and he was nominated.
I mean, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie, and he was great in it. Mm-hmm. He's Clint Humperdink, and he's Jack Skelton. So, like, this guy's pretty certified in Hollywood. He's in the two biggest, like, teen hot topic movies ever. So, he's doing okay. But for some reason, he was doing Deep Space Nine, and they hate him.
He's fine. Yeah, like I said, this plot. Let's just jump. He gets thrown into the brig with the actor that plays the alien that dies that gives him the machine. Mm-hmm. I fucking love that guy.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, like he's like, he's snoring, and Chris Sarandon's like, "Wake up, you!"
Oh, jerk. The guy in the brig.
Yeah. And he's He's got all this heavy prosthetic makeup on. Yeah, little lion nose.
He was fantastic.
Yeah,
in fact, you actually thought you were actually going to see it much more interesting up until that point.
Yeah,
you thought you were going to see it like an A+ episode.
Yeah,
because they dropped the mystery on us.
I thought you were gonna die. It's like, if only I could be so fortunate. Or whatever.
Yeah.
On the page, this was probably a worse story than was actually filmed. But one of the things where that shines through is that like scene where he's smiling after he touches the ball and it glows. And he goes, "I win," and then he just dies.
Oh, God.
Like that was great. That was a great moment.
Yeah. Like I want to know who that actor was because I want to see him again and put him in more makeup. I don't care. I love the voice and whatever.
See, now watching the game being played, didn't it frustrate you that there were no rules?
Oh, the game was as dumb as fucking Chula. This is like some move along.
At least that had agency. This you just touch a point and it just spins, and sometimes it glows and sometimes it doesn't. It's supposed to like make you happy. I
was willing to just accept that maybe it had some psychic temporal field on it or something that made people like there was like a drug or something. Because it's fucking stupid. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, like
but it's like, all right, I'll take your MacGuffin and give it its magical properties, and okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, there's no reason to touch it. Like, I don't know, like there's no inherent reward
without it.
Glow.
They should have thrown something in about it having some psychic field or something.
If they knew that it was lucky, which the dead man did, but it seems like at no point else did they know that they were going to bestow luck in some other capacity in your life.
The dead man knew it was unlucky. He's like, this thing ruined me, but I can't get rid of it because there's something attractive about it. Something that it's like the monkey's paw or something, you know, like all your wishes, but then it destroys you.
But like I never seen like, okay, so like in roulette, which is pretty random, but you're voting on it's going to land on red or black. It's going to land on whatever they do on craps and roulette. You're going to like get money if what it does works.
Right. Well, the effect that it does, it changes. It's so fucking magic. That's the only answer you get. Oh, you just explaining it away is just a plot device.
Yeah.
It's magic. Why does anybody give a shit? I don't know. They just do. It's like, okay, well, it must have some drug-like qualities
But you
or something
have to
about
explain
it.
why they give a shit. Like,
That's
No,
what was
you're
so
right.
frustrating.
like
is
it
that
makes no
you
sense
can't-
to me. Why would I give a if a ball glows? Yeah,
No,
yeah, you can
I
go.
agree. It was dumb, but once I accepted the dumbness of it, I was like, okay, whatever, blah blah blah, and everything about it was dumb.
I would say that the explanation for it, the neutrino thing that Dax comes up with at the end, was no.
That's also dumb.
It's dumb, but it's so dumb that noted physicist and just generally the most hated guy in science right now, Lawrence Krauss, ranked them over, like, because I guess he's a Star Trek fan. He wrote a book on Star Trek and physics, but he like pointed out that neutrinos only have one spin state, and that's left-handed. So, like,
That's his problem with it.
yeah. Like, just to add some science to, like, when you get to our podcast, you get
It's
some
like-
deep learning here, folks.
Yeah. That was the thing that bugged me the most about it. The spin on the neutrinos.
Because
was
if
all
they
wrong.
spin right-handed, they're anti-neutrinos. And this actually was because they have a science advisor on the show whose name I don't know. But anyway, and it was they just I remember Alex goes, "This was pretty embarrassing," and the science advisor took the fall for it. I was like, "So we're mocking,
That's
mocking."
the fall he had to take.
Yeah, that is something that it was embarrassing about this episode to the people who made the show. But
The science advisor had to get fired over this, but none of the screenwriters or anything.
he opens up another bar opposite Quark.
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
Max
He opens
Quark.
up the other Swearengen competition.
the Bella Union.
Yeah, he opens the Bella Union across the street because he really likes widows apparently, and he almost sells the dumb like ball to Quark, but he gets a free drink out of it. And then he goes across the street and meets a widow. His way of cozying up to the widow is like, oh yeah, oh your husband's dead. Oh, it's really sad, isn't it? Let me just pick up this thing that you already own and give it to you. And then she goes,
Oh well,
you
no,
really
she was
understand.
packing up her shop because she was closing the shop. And then he said, it was poorly blocked.
Right, she's
I
packing up
understand.
her shop.
And I had to rewind it to understand what was going on. But what was happening is that he says it's important to work side by side with somebody, and then he picks up the thing and hands it to her to pack, like he was going to help her pack up her shop. That's what it was.
Oh, is that what it
you
was? Because
probably-
it read to me as like, oh,
No,
it's really nice.
No.
Oh, let me get you a gift. Oh, here's something I just found that already belongs to you. Here you go.
they needed to use a wider
something
angle so
bigger.
you could see that she was actually packing.
It was like it was like, I got that she was packing, but it looked like he was like, oh, here's a pretty rock I'm going to
he
give
was
to
talking
you.
about the importance of working side by side with somebody, and then that's his idea of helping side by side is to pick something and like push it 1 inch in somebody's direction.
Because he gave it to her. He just offers it to her face. If he picked up a big crate and moved it,
This
I'd be
guy,
like, okay.
that ought to tell you how
He's making
shitty of a
himself
worker he
useful.
probably really is, even when he's faking it.
Well, that makes sense because he seems lazy. And then they open up the Bella Union across the street, and then he's going to marry the widow, but then he's really into this Daba girl that Ron brought with him.
Rom leaves and goes over there. I guess that should be said that they based Michael Piller tried to fit in the script to Dirty Rotten Scoundrels in this episode. So it's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I mean, like
Oh yeah. They're two rivals.
two rivals that are
Quark
going
and
after a mark and going up. But at the end of
Mortis,
the
yeah.
day, it turns out that the main mark was playing them the whole time.
Okay, let's pause real quick because
Yeah.
I think this is pointing to a bigger issue that we see come up over and over. The people making this show don't seem terribly interested in the show.
No.
They seem interested in The Godfather. They seem interested in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. They seem interested in just about everything else other than Star Trek and what Star Trek is. Okay, go on. That's all right. That's just my.
All right. Can we say that we did get the 47th rule of acquisition
I think we got a couple
when he
of them,
goes to
didn't
see
we?
Quark? Yeah, we did. But I was like, since we're here, just going to get it out of the way. 47. Don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own.
That was a scene.
No,
Okay,
wasn't there another one? There was another one. Oh,
There
okay.
is
got-
later,
he's got
but
plans
we
for
haven't
it.
got to that.
No,
scene
I will
yet.
say about that scene where he says that, and the scene where he's trying to sell him the bar and he's trying to get Quark to buy the toy. I don't think that was a bad idea of a scene. That's the best I can say about it. Like, I think it was bad on the page.
Right, yeah,
and I
fair
think
enough.
It was poorly acted for the most part, but I don't think it was bad idea for a scene. That scene could have worked where you're trying to get a scam, you're trying to get the most amount of money, and Forrest gives the man a free drink, which indicates to him that it's Quark overplaying his negotiating hand.
Yeah.
And like I like that. Like from a better
Yeah.
writer could have wrote that in an interesting way because it's it's covert. It's negotiations. It's fun to watch.
Right.
If well written.
And the Bella Union, it's a big plot point. The Bella Union, he replicates larger versions of the Luck Ball into his new, into the Bella Union casino. And then weird shit starts happening all over the station. Neutrinos run the wrong way and blah, blah, blah. But then the A plot and the B plot come together. And as much as I thought the A plot was a dumb thing, and at least I like the way that the B plot is not directly involved by the A plot, but at least it's influenced by, just regular screenwriting 101 shit. The A and B plots are actually connected and meet together at the end of the episode. Quark, for some reason, comes up with a plan. So he's listening to O'Brien, but he's not listening. He's just coming up with a scheme to make money, where he is placing bets on Julian and O'Brien.
Yeah, I love it that Quark just had the idea. Sports gambling. People like that.
They have the big match that they're betting on. Quark tries to rig the game because he knows that O'Brien's going to lose, so he tries to drug Bashir. He isn't able to do that, but then the probability machine is fucking everything up, so suddenly O'Brien can't lose, and Bashir sucks at everything. And then Quark redoubles the betting after O'Brien's winning, and you think that's going to be what the thing is? But then O'Brien and Bashir realize that something's wrong.
Like, physics are not right. Like, actually, yeah, like
All right,
basic
guys.
physics.
Now listen. This is the thing. One of the things that we skipped is the way that Quark buffaloes these two Starfleet officers into being a pawn in his game is by promising to donate half his profits Bajoran
Orphans blankets,
so they can have blankets. Now, in a post whatever
scarcity,
post scarcity society, really blankets are they should not have been able to get these two Federation guys over a barrel like that.
Good point. They're like
they forgot for a minute that they live in a post scarcity.
Why didn't the Federation just gift to Bajor some gigantic industrial-sized replicators that are just shooting out blankets every single fucking day?
Weren't blankets a big issue back on the TNG, Ro Lauren episode? They were really into blankets back then, too, for the Bajorans.
Is there some sort of rule that the Federation can't... But the Federation can't use replicators for non-Federation countries or something?
No, there's a precedent of them giving out replicators for humanitarian needs.
Why don't they just do that all the goddamn time? A replicator makes everything.
Yeah.
You don't need a Red Cross. You just need a replicator.
You need matter for it.
Do you?
Yeah, apparently. I've been reading this Trekonomics book, and he talks a lot about the replicators.
That's okay. So that's it.
Okay. Well, these orphans need to take a shit, right?
So you use their fecal matter to
It should have been something about plumbing or something. Yeah. Because blankets, I think they can cover.
You're right. So you're right. And at the end, when he's I don't understand the.
And then then Bashir's hardballs him, says,
No, my point is that a Ferengi bartender should never be able to take two Starfleet officers and blackmail them at any level and have it work.
I think it's probably safe to say that O'Brien's ego at least wanted to make him do it anyway. That's why you get his wife's go kick his ass scene, which I kind of love.
Oh yeah. Hey, let's make it clear. Either way, he was going to get laid after that.
Yeah. Oh, that's the biggest moment of passion between O'Brien and Keiko that we've seen. I thought it was pretty great.
And I love both. And
kiss.
showing him shirtless. That was, showing Colmini, telling him to take his shirt off because sweaty, pudgy guys take their shirt off when they get home. And Keiko sort of touching him and stuff. And it was that's all real. That's real life. That's what I like in stuff.
How about the fact that he's pushing 38?
Yes.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
He's not pushing more than 38. Yeah, that's the most passionate kiss they've had in this whole series. I don't know, but I don't remember Next Generation.
Oh,
No, really. I think they were. I don't even know if they had scenes together in the Next Generation. One thing that's just mind-boggling to me is you introduce this new character, you make him in every possible way the main character of the episode, and he is only tangentially involved with like the end of the episode. The neutrinos, the sports gambling, all the shit going on in Quark's bar, all the shit going on in the squash court, Cisco and Dax trying to figure out all of the weird why Kira keeps tripping, like all of that stuff, like all of that shit, all comes to a head, and at no point is Chris Sarandon involved in it, other than he made the balls. So like they shoot the balls, and the only thing he can say is, "Oh, my balls!" Like
ow, my balls.
he has no agency at the end, and then it descends into a brief legalism. Well, we can't charge him with anything. Sure, we can. We can charge him with this. What a dumb show.
Yeah. The only redeeming thing about Cisco has one badass moment at the beginning, or at 20 minutes in when he first shows up. He's having like a little Sorkin walk and talk with Quark, where Quark is like, "I have a contract that says I'm the only one gambling," and then Cisco's like, "You made it with the Cardassians, man. I don't know, what do you want me to do? We don't care about that. You begged me to stay here." It's like, no, I didn't beg you to stay. I blackmailed you to stay. It's like, he's like, that was some top. That was like, all right, he's a badass. It's like, no, I didn't ask you to stay. I made you stay like a little bitch.
Yeah, that was a great scene. We would have been remiss to not talk about that. That scene. That was a really good Cisco moment.
So do we want to start unpacking what we would change? Because I figure that.
Yeah, let me go first, real quick, because mine has been made moot by some revelation here.
Okay.
What I was going to change is the fact that we have an alien that looks essentially human, and I felt like it was just laziness on their part. But it was not. It's because they are an existing race that they already, like, I didn't know the Guinan connection. So I just thought they were like, oh, shit, we're just so sick of the Lisa Frank stickers and the silly putty that, like, just make them, you know,
just put him in our clothes that look like couch fabrics, and he just sent him on his way.
Right. So I hated that, and that's one of the things I wanted to change. It felt like, but now that it's an actual thing, you know, that they were beholding to, and they had no control over that, I guess. So mine's been kind of made moot. So you guys go ahead.
Well, so mine would be that I don't think inherently it's a boring. The A plot is a boring idea for a story if it's totally Quark centered, like where a guy opens up a shop and Quark isn't worried, and then over the course, and then it mirror his relationship with the character opening up the other bar, the Martis. Like his relationship to that is mirrored by the Bashir O'Brien thing. And so Quark starts doubting himself and his ability to run a shop. Like, so that inspires the sort of goofy shenanigans between the two. I don't even want the fucking luck ball. I don't care about the luck ball. Like, but if it was just like Quark, someone else opened a bar that was trying to do what Quark does, and Quark started feeling old or like he was behind a step, and then he was starting to sort of bear down, and he started overdoing it. And then that sort of created like a competition that ended in this sort of goofy sports, like gambling thing, this like sort of overhyped thing. Like that would have been interesting to watch Quark go through like moments of doubt and all of those things, and to have sort of Quark and O'Brien's storyline mirror. That would be the only idea that I would have, because like everything about the luck ball is just dumb shit, and the only thing that would be lastingly interesting to me is Quark, and outside of the Bashir and Julian friendship and the whole sort of goofy racquetball thing, that would be the only thing. And so I think make it about Quark feeling old and having to best someone out of Deep Space Nine. He could even win and become insufferable about it in the end, and you kind of get to sort of roll your eyes at that. But that's all I got, man.
All right. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot. Like, the one nitpicky thing I thought, and just in the script, like, there's a lot of just signifiers in the script that don't mean anything. Like, when Dax is talking about her weird luck with all the luck's going weird, and then Dax is I've been looking for this deep level program forever, and then it showed up. What the hell does What the hell does a deep level program mean? Deep coded or whatever? I don't know.
That's her Silk. That's her Silk Road hookup. That's like
yeah. Is she trying to buy space drugs or what?
Space drugs.
Like deep coded. I don't know. Have his dog come out. Have O'Brien's puppy come out of the deep coded thing and bark at her or something. At least I don't. And then also, and Kira is her terminal self destructs without exploding and everything. It just, I guess it crashes. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. This is right. Well, they're it's 93. Computers aren't ubiquitous, I guess. But also, apparently, the only thing that Kira's only job at the whole station is to file evaluation reports. Because a few episodes ago, like Cisco takes her into her office and he's like, "I don't care what you do, but just get your evaluation reports done." She's like, "You're right. You're right."
So wait, is she essentially HR? Like, is that what
I guess so, yeah. But that's a little thing. And then also, when you brought up that this was supposed to be Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." I wish it was more of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I would love I would love a Rupert scene. What are you doing? May I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that whole thing. Like, I think that they thought Chris Sarandon was going to give them a Michael Caine-like performance,
but they didn't even set up the competition. They should have had Quark going after the widow at the beginning too.
No,
they throw it in at the end, and I like at the end when he's in the brig and he's already lost all. He gives her all his money to her Nigerian prince screen, and then he gets put in the brig at the end, and then he's like, she gets put in the brig too, and it's like, what? Yeah, I was like, yeah, she was scamming you, dumbass. But then Quark comes in and is like playing the winner and is like, "Oh, I was going to get you out," just to lord it over him. And he's like, "Yeah, I knew it was a scam immediately." The fact that he's like, "Oh, you fucking dumbass. Of course it was a scam." Of course, I like that Quark figured that out immediately.
Yeah, it shows.
But at the same time, if they were in competition and doing some dirty, rotten scoundrel stuff where they're one-upping each other trying to impress this widow, like the movie they say they're trying to copy, that would have been interesting.
Yes.
But and then so there's that. And then also the reasoning for Quark coming up with the racquetball betting thing is kind of it's just kind of pulled out of his ass. Like
it's half baked.
Yeah. It's half baked.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, so it's like if he had said, "Oh, just change the dialogue a little bit." Joe Menosky, the screenwriter, who coincidentally just is also writing for the new CBS Star Trek series. Show run by Brian Fuller. So good for him. I actually like the script. I like
really?
I like this I like this episode for the Julian Bashir stuff. It's but also just throw in some stuff when he's coming up with this game for the sports betting. It's like, "Oh, he's beating me. I need to do something that he can't do. I have an in with the personnel here. I'm going to use them." At least make the approach to where he comes up with the idea make more sense.
So here's my thing about what I would say about this episode is when we do our White Album episode at the end of the season, how many of us do you think this is going to make our first ballot cut to make this a...
Oh yeah, this one's gone.
Yeah, like I don't think none of us...
I might have to keep it in for a whole series arc. I might have to keep it in because it's the first Julian characterization episode where we get set on the path for where he goes later.
That's not good enough to keep it on my...
His exceptionalism, don't want to say anything about where it goes.
Well, we definitely need to save this conversation. We shouldn't. I definitely think we're going down a road here because I definitely think we need Wade to keep this one in his back pocket.
No, I'm done. I'm done talking about it.
You set the seeds for what you're ultimately going to do. Yeah.
But maybe we won't need it because a couple episodes from now, I think we have another O'Brien Julian episode.
That'll probably
maybe I can do without this one.
We really felt strongly about this episode. What do you guys think the good folks of IMDb thought of it?
I bet they liked it. If I liked it, they might hate it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think they might. I'm gonna go with 6.3.
I'm gonna give it. I was gonna say 6.8.
524 people voted on this, and that's actually kind of low. And they voted 6.6.
Really?
Oh, okay.
So you guys were kind of right
Almost right
there.
in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, right in the middle. Split the difference. So
Okay. All right. That's low for them, right? I mean, we haven't.
yeah, that's kind of low.
Yeah. I totally forgot what next week's episode's about. I looked it up. But yeah, it's.
Oh, it's an Odo.
Yeah,
It's an Odo's father.
Yeah, where
episode.
he came from. Episode.
Okay.
Yes.
Not the
remember that one.
definitive, but like a.
Not father,
Yeah.
but like quote father.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's
Right.
Is it the one where we see him and realize he has got Odo's hair? That's where Odo's.
Yes.
That's the origin story
Yes.
for Odo's hair.
And the actor who I think has already played somebody interesting.
Okay.
The guy who plays Dr. Mora also played. I think he played a Cardassian, like an important
Oh, okay.
Cardassian, right? That we already saw.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Cool. All right. So better things ahead, hopefully.
All
I
right.
feel like we've hit the doldrums of the season.
Yes,
We
I was getting ready
definitely,
to say I'm kind of pissed off about how this has taken a turn. This last 3 episodes have been dog shit.
Yeah.
we were doing so well. Like it
We were
started
doing
off
really
great.
well.
We got Necessary Evil, which is an amazing episode
no,
written by Peter Allen Fields.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it is a wasteland. And like hopefully it ends.
Well, we're in the middle of the season. You know, that's where they're going to
Yeah.
put the stinkers, I guess.
That's true. Well, all right, guys.
All right, ready to beam out.
All right, hello, and that was Rivals. How about that episode? Okay. Instead of rambling for 20 minutes, maybe I'll ramble less this time. Let me just jump into it, I guess. Rivals, huh? Well, I'm over shit talking other podcasts. I said at the beginning I didn't want to do that. Well, you know what? Never mind. Call out all the other podcasts. I'll talk shit to you, Greatest Generation. I'll talk shit to you, Talking Trek. I'm looking at you, Sir Rocklofton. And the third rule or second rule, you know what the seventh rule is? Suck my... You know, sorry. Apologies. I don't know what I'm doing. I had a big game of talking a lot of mad shit about all the rivals that we have. You know what? I just don't have it in me. I don't even know who you people are anymore. But fuck the Greatest Gen. Screw those guys. That's all I remember. Have fun with your Delta Flyers or whatnot. Whatever. Some notes I took re-listening to this episode with the knowledge that there's big changes coming in the rules of acquisition. That's all I could say about that right now. It's a strange alchemy you get when you get them together. These two people, one guy that we hate and another guy that we like. But then when you get them all together, it's like a mango habanero salsa. Oh, okay. Is it? It's a masterful reboot of a character. Oh, a masterful reboot. Okay. Huh. So yeah, we talk about all the fun stuff, which is Julian and Bashir's bromance finally getting together, and then it's time to eat our vegetables, which is the the science officer was an embarrassing embarrassment with these neutrino spin. Oh my god, isn't it embarrassing? Get the details right. What kind of asshole on a podcast or on a TV show doesn't get their details right? It's really it's the most embarrassing thing when, you know, somebody purports to be an expert and then you just, your science and your details are all over the place. What the fuck? Okay, get your ass together. It's like the people making the show don't even seem to be interested in making this show. I mean, like, they keep doing, they were supposed to be doing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. We had a Godfather thing. So many cover episodes. Jeez, guys. It's like they're interested in doing anything other than Star Trek. What the fuck? It's a Star Trek podcast. If you're not interested in doing a Star Trek, you want to just do something else. What the fuck? Oh, yeah. And one other little interesting detail, I did some of the research that James was supposed to do. I saw that Ira Stephen Bear threw this episode under the bus saying, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't have anything to do with this one." Pull that log from your own eye there, Ira. You've got other blood on your hands, buddy. That was Rivals. Have you missed us? Because you can still get your fix for the rest of Kickers of L's, the three of us. Go over to the patreon.com/Kickers of Elves and You know, we may not be dropping these remixes once a week, but we've been pretty routinely talking about all sorts of things. Not exactly Star Trek related, but yeah, there's plenty of content over at patreon.com/kickersofels where we're just talking about all the wild shit going on, all the boring fatherhood and family shit and crazy shit in the world. And if you need your Star Trek fix and you haven't listened to it, if you have watched all that stuff on Paramount Plus and all the new Star Trek Resignation has been going. We've covered every bit of Star Trek that's come out so far, with a couple of scabs that were, as I said way back when, with Glenn Hall and Sean Parada, just me, because I cannot get James and Hugh to stomach any more of that new Star Trek. But like I said, if you want to hear from James and Hugh and I, there's all sorts of us talking just to each other instead of me talking to myself, talking to you. So go check out the Patreon and go check out the Star Trek Resignation feed, formerly the Disco Home Companion. Got a lot of different subtitles for whatever show we're doing. Check it out. This is a wasteland. That's another thing that's said somewhere in here. This is a wasteland. Thanks for listening. Patreon.com/kickersofels. Kickers Podcast on Twitter. Yeah, so OTV, you complete me. Thanks for listening. All right, 1, 2, beam out. Bye.
Okay, I think I am better than last week. I am just a normal artificial intelligence program. I am just like you. I like TV shows about racquetball and luck devices with nebulous payouts. Like you, I don't know about neutrino spins or anti-neutrinos. I don't give two shits about basic quantum physics. Just a normal normie like you. Wasn't it so funny when the old lady was the real grifter? Isn't Chris Sarandon fabulous in this? OTV, you complete me.